of the most embarrassing losses on a respected fighter's career, because I always find it interesting to look back at champion or contenders' records and see, damn, how the heck did he ever lose to that guy? That makes no sense, knowing what that guy goes on to do and what the person they lost to goes on to do. It's just like, you can't even fathom how they once upon a time lost to them. I know fighters need to take losses to get better and stuff, so once upon a time these did make sense, but I think it's a very funny list of just comical losses where you're like, how on earth did he ever lose to that guy? And as I pull the fighters up, see if you can guess who the embarrassing loss is. We'll start with Nassourdine Imavov. Have you got any ideas? Because obviously look at his last five. It's just, I mean, wow, very impressive stuff on a true run. But what did he once lose to? Oh my God, is that a loss to Phil Hawes? How the hell did you ever lose to Phil Hawes, Nassourdine Imavov? That makes no sense. Especially, what do you know about Phil Hawes? Oh, that schmuck who's got no chin and is a bum? I mean, look at that. Look at his last thing. But yes, once upon a time, he beat Nassourdine Imavov quite easily as well. Majority decision. He was on a run, but just seeing what ended up happening to Phil Hawes, Dolidze, Ikram, oh my God, everyone's just laid him out, put him in a spliff, rolled Phil Hawes up. But Nassourdine Imavov goes on to knock out Izzy and beat Bahalio and probably challenge Chimaev. I reckon give him a decent fight. But no, he just couldn't get past Phil Hawes back in the day. It was just too tough, very weird, and a very embarrassing loss to have on your career. Another embarrassing loss, Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight GOAT, some would say, beat Ngannou, beat DC, of course, very established career. But if you scroll a little bit down, JDS, no, that's not embarrassing. Can you guess it? Oh, what the? Stefan Struve by knockout? What? How did you get knocked out by Stefan Struve, Stipe? That doesn't make any sense. And that was his first loss. And I know, like, you take a loss, you lose your O, you get better. But, like, just looking back, he's beaten DC, he's fought John, he's fought everyone, Ngannou. Yeah, he can get past Ngannou, but Stefan Struve? Oh, yeah, obviously he gets chinned by him. And then Stefan loses to Tuivasa, Jared, Rochelle, just Mark Hunt. Any heavyweight you could ever think of in the world, Stefan Struve's been knocked out by them. Oh, but the heavyweight GOAT of all people. No. Stefan Struve beats him easily. Second round KO. Easy work for the skyscraper. He knocks out Stipe Miocic. What an embarrassing loss. I do think there's a chance that's the most embarrassing loss to have. The heavyweight GOAT, Ngannou, DC. But Stefan Struve was just too much back in the day. Pretty comical, that loss. Sean Strickland, another very established, respected fighter. 50 minutes with Dricus, beat Izzy, beat Imavov, who was on the list. Like, Strickland's very good. But who did he once lose to? Can you guess this one? No, it's not Kamaru Usman. Yeah, he once got wheel kicked in the fucking first round by Alesi Zaleski dos Santos, who can't even beat Neil Magny. But yeah, he was once upon a time wheel kicking Sean Strickland. And this one's pretty funny because, like, yeah, flukes happen, but like, wheel kicked? Strickland got wheel kicked and then went on like a tremendous run where he beat everyone, lost to Pereira, Cannonier, Abbas, and Izzy and stuff. But Alesi Zaleski dos Santos, just too dynamic. Will kicks his ass. But then you look at Alesi's career. You know, he can't beat Randy Brown. Chitty, nah, too much. Gets KO'd. Neil Magny gets mounted and fucking finished. But Sean Strickland, easy will kick. Just the highlight of his career. I'm probably the most impressive guy he's ever fought in hindsight. I know there's a lot of hindsights, but it's just pretty funny when you look back on some of these fighters' career and you're like, how the fuck does that even make sense at all? Another one that doesn't just make any sense. Carlos Ulberg, the Black Jag, fighting Dominic Reyes, probably going to challenge against Magomed. Look at that. Look at his last five. Dawoon Jung at easy. Manyfield, Volkan Oezdemir. Look, he beats Dawoon Jung. Blachowicz. Oh, that's easy work. But you scroll down. Oh, yeah, Nuzachukwu. Yeah, once upon a time, somehow, he lost to Kennedy Nuzachukwu in his debut, gets better, I know, that's how it works kind of thing. But then Nuzachukwu goes on and loses to OSP and can't beat Dawoon Jung and gets elbowed from him. But then Ulberg beats Dawoon Jung but can't beat Nuzachukwu. Negumereanu, he can't beat OSP. How the fuck did he lose to OSP? Seriously, Oven St. Preux beat Nuzachukwu by decision. But Nuzachukwu knocks out the Black Jack Carlos Ulberg, who might be fighting for a title coming near you. What an embarrassing loss that he will never be able to get back. I know he was whooping his ass, but it's just funny. Like, Nuzachukwu can't beat Volta Walker or anyone good at heavyweight, but yeah, he can beat Carlos Ulberg. Just a funny loss, an embarrassing one at that. And another great one. Can you guess this one too? Magomed Ankalaev. Can you guess? Oh, well, he's only got one loss. And I know I feel like I'm taken away from Paul Craig by putting him on his list, on this list, but it is just funny. It is just funny because, of course, Magomed Ankalaev beats Pereira, stops his run. Look at all these wins that Paul Craig submitted him once upon a time. Jamal Hill could make it on this list as well, but Jamal Hill's a schmuck. He doesn't deserve it. And I know this is Paul Craig's career, just beating guys that he can't. I mean, he did beat Kennedy Nuzachukwu of all people as well. So that's just a little bit funny. But yeah, you have to include this loss. The most embarrassing losses, Magomed Ankalaev, the only loss he has is Paul Craig, who then can't beat Bo Nickel or Brendan Allen or gets laid out by Modestas, has a weird fight with Rodolfo. But his most legendary win is Ankalaev. Like, that is just... It doesn't get better than that, I don't think. I really don't think it does. Another great one on the list, Joaquin Buckley, who's very respected now, established himself, went into it as a heavy favourite against Kamaru Usman. Who's his embarrassing loss? Can you guess? I suppose he has a couple dicey ones. Chris Curtis lost to Nassourdine Imavov, but look at that one. Alessio Di Chirico head kicked him in 2 minutes. Yes, that's Alessio Di Chirico, 13-7 bum, who you might have never heard of in your fucking lifetime. I wouldn't be surprised. Look at that. Kopylov runs through him, gets head kicked in 17 seconds. Can't even beat the likes of Zach Cummins. But Joaquin Buckley in his very next fight, free head kick. Yeah, that one doesn't make any sense at all in hindsight or just ever in the world. Di Chirico is a schmuck, bum, but yeah, he head kicked and highlighted Buckley easily. And a very embarrassing loss when you look back in his career, I think so. Fluffy Hernandez. I bet you'd be able to guess this one. And now I suppose this isn't too embarrassing because Kevin Holland is established. He's beaten Joaquin Buckley, but this is embarrassing. 40 seconds. Kevin Holland just gets you out of there, but then Kevin Holland struggles with the Gunnar Nelson. Luke Hayes, such a 50-50 fighter. Can't beat Delidzi, who Fluffy Hernandez makes a mockery of. But of course, he can beat Fluffy. An embarrassing loss, that is. Kyle Dawkins, Marvin Brunson. But no, made short work of Fluffy, who now people think could maybe beat Chimaev and stuff. Just pulled out of his RDR fight. RDR easily rinsed Holland, but Fluffy was the favourite against RDR to really encapsulate what a dumb, stupid loss to have on your career that you'll never be able to get back, Fluffy. How did you lose to Kevin Holland that easily? But I suppose Kevin was making short work of people when he first got here. He did beat Buckley as well. That's also a bit of a sad loss, but Kevin's like that. Merab. Now, you know what this one is straight away. Merab Dvalishvili, the GOAT, the bantamweight GOAT, beats Piotr Yan, beats, I was about to say Aljo, beats Sean O'Malley, just beats any bantamweight you could think of, all your favourites, Aldo. But of course, no, he couldn't beat Ricky Simone once upon a time. I suppose you could put on Frankie Sains as well, but I don't give a fuck about that guy. I do think it's funny that he lost to Ricky Simone, even though that is a tough matchup for him in when you think about it on paper. But it's just funny, Ricky can't beat Yudong or Batista or Vinicius or most good bantamweights, Uriah Faber, Rob Font. But the bantamweight Merab, oh yeah, he finished him. He finished him, beat him. It's very funny to look back on Ricky, who you don't think anything of, is the last person to beat the bantamweight GOAT Merab, who beats everyone, just runs a train on anyone. But Ricky Simone in a 3-rounder, no, he couldn't do it. Just couldn't get it done. Very embarrassing loss to have. But that's actually not the worst one. Khalil Rountree is on the list too, because of course he can beat Jamal Hill and give Alex Pereira everything he can handle. But no, when it comes to Johnny Walker, who's a glass cannon who loses to everyone, no, he just rinsed him. Just rinsed Khalil Rountree instantly. Easy KO work for Johnny Walker, who can't beat Corey Anderson or anything. Oh no, Johnny Walker bursted onto the scene and he was the guy to beat John Jones. So is it that embarrassing that you lost to the guy that beat John Jones? This is definitely a hindsight list, but it is funny. It is funny to look back at the time, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, Phil Hawes beats Imavov? I don't think anything of it. And then 5 years later, you're like, Phil Hawes beat Imavov? What the fuck? When Stefan Struve knocked out a debuting Stipe, you're like, oh yeah, this guy debuting will probably be nothing. And then he turns into the heavyweight GOAT and you're like, how the hell did Stefan Struve ever beat him? It's a funny list, all right? Give me some credit and some views, YouTube, please. Give me some views. All right, Islam Makhachev, last but not least, the put him in the thumbnail, the pioneer of the whole video, 27-1. And he's got one loss, and it's very, very embarrassing. You know who. I'll cut the shit. Adriano Martins obviously laid him out instantly. But then Makhachev goes on to beat Volk and Charles Oliveira and just Dustin Poirier. Not Jack Della Maddalena, of course. He's going to lose to him. And Adriano Martins goes on to... What did he go on to do? I've got no idea who the fuck this schmuck is, really. Kajan Krzyzewski, oh yeah, that guy who lost in the UFC. Leonardo Santos, Cerrone head kicks him. Look at that. That is actually crazy. I don't think I've ever looked at Martin's record, but to see a win and Makhachev's name is pretty bizarre. I actually haven't looked at his record before. Francisco Trinaldo, who I do know. But yeah, just a 50-50 Brazilian that was never good. Has a win over Makhachev easily in the first round by knockout. Pretty vicious stuff. But then loses to Leonardo Santos in his very next fight, who is trash as well. And yeah, that's the list. 10 of the most embarrassing losses on Legends' career, respected fighters, contenders. Not sure what I'll title the video. Something good. And how long did I go for? Oh, like 11 minutes or something? Yeah, that's the video, guys. I hope you'd enjoyed it. 10 of the most embarrassing losses you've just ever seen. Pretty funny. I hope I encapsulated a good list, and I'd love if you could drop some embarrassing losses in the comments, because this is a list where there has to be heaps. These are just 10 I could think of, but you want to throw more at me in the comments, I'd love that. And definitely subscribe too, because I need it badly, eh? Alright, see ya.